Hey guys, welcome to Last Movie Standing. Today I want to talk about movies from 1999. One of my favorite years of movies, but I don't want to talk about the best from that year or the most underrated or any of that. I want to talk about movies I feel are just completely forgotten about. Some of these are a little bit more mainstream, but still not really talked about. Because I've been in this whole going back in 99 to early 2000s, rediscovering movies that either I haven't seen in years or I've never seen. There's a few of these where I just saw for the first time like this week, and I was like, wow, these are actually pretty good. Or I have a certain feeling for them because of the time period, and I understand why they look and sound the way they do. But this first one is one of my favorites. The Muse. This is an Albert Brooks movie. This one does have a Blu-ray. I haven't got it yet. I think it just came out 2 years ago. The Blu-ray finally got released. It's Universal. This is an Albert Brooks movie, and he plays a screenwriter. And I relate to this movie a lot just because as a creative, I've had muses. I've had inspirational, in my actresses and models I work with. So Albert Brooks is a screenwriter who's just, past his prime. He's getting old. Everybody wants a new hip stuff. And so he's looking for inspiration. He's having trouble. So he meets this muse played by Sharon Stone, who's basically, the nine, she's one of the nine muses, they even go as far as she's, says she's the daughter of Zeus kind of a thing. I mean, they think she's delusional, but it's kind of funny how they play with it. This one's got a lot of great cameos. Jeff Bridges is in this movie. Martin Scorsese has a small cameo, which is hilarious. He's coked out the whole time. It's funny. But the most ironic cameo in this movie, James Cameron, because her whole thing is she's helping all these Hollywood directors. So they're coming to Albert Brooks's house trying to find inspiration from her while she's under his tutelage. But James Cameron goes to Sharon Stone and is like, what do you think about Titanic 2? And she tells him, stay away from the water. And he's like, okay, stay away from the water. Stay away. And it's so ironic giving, Avatar 2 and everything. It's kind of funny. But if you haven't checked out The Muse, and if you're an Albert Brooks fan, Albert Brooks has a lot of movies now coming to 4K. This one just came to Blu-ray. So I don't see it coming to 4K anytime soon, but I can hope. But I'm gonna definitely be upgrading this to Blu-ray because it's so good. Body Shots. I will say I just saw this for the very first time the other day, and I think I've talked about this before. This is a movie I bought probably a year ago, and I'm just now getting around to watching it. It's from 1999. I'll be completely honest, the reason I got this movie, Tara Reid is naked in this movie, and if you know me and how much I love Tara Reid. It was like an instant, okay, I'm going to check it out. And this DVD has the unrated. It's like all you need. Unrated, rated, full screen, widescreen, both versions. You can watch it any way you want. And I will say, if you have the DVD, watch the full screen version of the Tara Reid scene. Because you see more. I promise you. It's way better. But this movie is very interesting. This movie takes a very dark turn. So it's basically about 4 groups of guy friends, 4 groups of girlfriends, and one night, just something crazy happens. And I'm not going to say the word, because the word would get me banned on YouTube. But basically, Tara Reid gets, and by Jerry O'Connell, and there's a whole, but that's in the third act. All this thing is this kind of party club kind of movie where they're just, it's very much an adults talking about sex movie kind of a thing. But there's this twist at the end where she gets, and it's it's 2 different stories from 2 different perspectives, her story and Jerry O'Connell's story. And neither one of them really make any sense. It's almost what I like about it is it leaves it up to the audience to make up the decision, because it's kind of a message movie. It's very independent. I love the way it's shot. The cinematography is really good. It's got Amanda Peet from The Whole 9 Yards and The Whole 10 Yards. She's in it. The guy from the Boondock Saints, the pretty boy, what's his name? Sean Patrick Flannery is in this. He's so good in this. And Ron Livingston is in this. Oh my God. Ron Livingston is so funny in this movie. He plays the friend, the outgoing nerd who's they don't really want a part of their group, but they kind of gotta have him there just because they work with them. But it's a good movie, but it gets really dark because the first time, because they show that scene twice with Tara Reid and Jerry O'Connell. They show it twice. And the first time it's like, oh, this is hot, ooh. Second time it's like, this is brutal. I can't watch this. It's crazy. But if you haven't seen Body Shots, check it out. I'm not gonna put this as a high recommend, but check it out and let me know what you think. This is another new one I just discovered. 3 to Tango with Matthew Perry, rest in peace. Neve Campbell. I've never seen Neve Campbell this sexy. Like, she is so fun and bubbly, and she has this one scene where she's in this little, like, they're going out, and it's like this little dress and this heel. She looks so good. And it's got Dylan McDermott. Now, this movie when I watched the trailer, I'm like, this movie looks familiar to me. I've seen this movie before. For Love or Money. This is just a retelling, sort of this movie. So if you've seen this movie, you might like this movie or you might hate this movie. So basically, 3 to Tango, I'm basically going to describe For Love or Money in a second. Matthew Perry works for Dylan McDermott, who's dating Neve Campbell, but Dylan McDermott is married, so he gets Matthew Perry to basically look after her while he's busy with his wife. But the twist with this movie is they think Matthew Perry is gay. Oliver Platt's in it too, and it's kind of a funny, gay backstory, because he's pretending to be gay because he's in love with her, but he can't let anybody know because they think he's gay. And this cover is really deceiving. Matthew Perry does not look like this in the movie. Matthew Perry has this, like, reddish hair, which is a little weird for Matthew Perry, but this is a charming rom-com. If you're into Matthew Perry movies, I'm like kind of going back and rediscovering a lot of his movies that I just totally missed. He's got another one. It's not from 99, but he's got another one. I think it's called Saving Sarah with Elizabeth Hurley that I need to check out. But if you like Love or Money, check this out. I will say this is the cutest, funnest, sexiest Neve Campbell has ever looked. Virus. The first time I saw Virus, I just got this about a year ago. I was not into it. I put it on. You ever put a movie on that you've never seen before and you just fall asleep? Not because of the movie, you're just tired and then you just never go back. You kind of like, I wasn't really that into it. I revisited this like this week for this video because I was like, this is one of those trash or, like, should I keep it or should I trash it? Oh, I'm keeping this. This movie holds up. This is basically, if you've seen Ghost Ship, it's kind of like Ghost Ship, but with machines. Like, the practical effects in this movie are dope. So it's like this Donald Sutherland in this movie, Jamie Lee Curtis, what's his name? God, I'm forgetting all their name. William Baldwin. I was like, I knew it was A. Baldwin. They're like they're boat people. I don't know the name. They're fishermen, shipmen. And they come across this giant boat just stranded there. And it's this old Russian boat. And they're like, they go aboard and they run all the diagnostics. And they're like, this ship is missing for so-and-so. And there's so much more stuff on the ship. So they're like, they could get $100 million to pirate and everything on the ship. But they have to make sure nobody's alive on the ship. So they go into the ship. And the ship is... There's something going on with that ship. They're not ghosts. They're basically humanoid robots, AI. It's basically AI technologies. The Russians were messing with this, like, machinery technology, and then it grew its own brain. Kind of a weird storyline, but the practical effects are so good. And, what do you call it? Shout Factory does have a Blu-ray. I just ordered this. This is on sale right now. By the time you see this video, the sale might be over with because I don't know when I'm posting this. I'm literally leaving in 20 minutes on a plane to Europe. But for Shout Factory Shocktober, this is on sale for $10. I'm sorry if I'm stuttering a lot more in this video or stammering. I'm sorry. I'm kind of like trying to get content out for you and rush to the airport at the same time. So if I'm like, I'm sorry. Then I'm excited because I just watched this movie. But Check out Virus. It's very under. It's one of those that went under my radar for the longest time. The longest time. I have issues with this edition. Okay. Payback with Mel Gibson. One of my top 5 easily favorite Mel Gibson movies is Payback. I got the Blu-ray recently, probably about a year and a half ago, maybe. This is not the Blu-ray I want. This only has the director's cut, and I have never seen the director's cut of Payback. And it's a totally different movie. It is not the theatrical cut. Like, they took this movie from the director. I forgot the whole story behind it, but they took it from him because of some problems or whatever. But the theatrical cut is, to me, it's the only one I've watched since I was a little kid. So that's the one I know. They even changed the villain in the third one. They take characters out, plot stories out. It's a totally different movie. The color grading is different because the director, I know, wanted to color grade it because he wanted it to differentiate from the theatrical cut. Well, this movie is very warm. This director's cut's very warm, and more natural looking, where the other one, the theatrical one, is very blue and it's got this stylized blue print to it. And I know there's this whole discussion of how you watched it versus how the director's vision really is, and that's a lot with like restorations and 4Ks, but this is more the director did that on purpose to make it different, which I respect, but I just don't like the cut at all. I think the cut is just not that good. But Payback from 1999, Mel Gibson, so good. Chris Christopherson, rest in peace, he just passed. Chris Christopherson isn't even in the other one, I don't think. It's a different bag. How do you cut I'm not going to get into that. Lucy Liu is sexy too. It's a dominatrix. So good. Blue Streak. This one's probably my favorite Martin Lawrence movie. Like, hands down, this is probably my favorite Martin Lawrence movie. I need to get the Blu-ray. This is Columbia Pictures, so it's Sony. So this Blu-ray still around. It's not out of print yet, but this movie's so good. He's, a thief, and he gets caught on a diamond heist, and he puts his diamond in this brand new construction building in LA, and he gets out of jail, and he's like, I'm gonna go get the diamond. Well, the diamond's a police station now. So he has to basically pretend to be a detective, and everything, and he gets caught up. Luke Wilson is in this movie. It's fun. Dave Chappelle has a fun cameo in this movie. Very high recommend for Blue Streak. My favorite Martian. I've talked about this movie before, but this is one of my favorite Disney movies from the 90s that just nobody talks about. And honestly, I forgot about this movie until I got Disney Plus and then rediscovered it. Totally rediscovered this movie on Disney Plus. And Christopher Lloyd, Jeff Daniels, Elizabeth Hurley is so sexy in this movie. It's so good. The little suit animation, the animation in this movie still kind of holds up for being a kid's movie from 1999. But my favorite Martian. This one is the one I always wished would have come to Blu-ray. There's probably an HD version online somewhere, but this DVD is fine. But yeah, we may never get this because it's Disney. Teaching Mrs. Tingle. Now, if you know me, I love Katie Holmes. Like young Katie Holmes. This movie's fun. Helen Mirren, Katie Holmes. This chick, I don't know her name. She's been in a couple of movies. Basically, these 3 kids with the teacher from hell. Helen Mirren's like the big bad witch in this movie, and they kind of kidnap her. And to make their lives easier, and they're kind of stuck in this situation by accident, trying to humble her in a way. It's good. This is entertaining. This one does have a Blu-ray. It's out of print and way overpriced, but you can still find it in some foreign countries, but it's still pretty hard to find on Blu-ray. The Bachelor. This movie is... What can I say about this movie? It's very 1999. This is peak rom-com era of movies, back when Chris O'Donnell was still a big star. Renee Zellweger looks really good in this movie. Now, not as good as Jerry Maguire. The meet cute in this, how they meet, is like really good. Basically, she wants to get married. They've been dating for a while, and he proposes, and he kind of botches it. He's like, "You win." And she's like, "What?" He's like, "You win. Will you marry me?" And she's like, "No." It's this really embarrassing moment for her. And then basically his uncle, his grandfather, Chris O'Donnell's grandfather or uncle dies. And he has basically 2 days or 1 day to marry somebody to get the family fortune. Because the uncle or the grandfather, whoever, is just kind of a dick. And so he's got 1 day, and his friends are like, basically put an ad out for anybody to marry him for the money. And there's this scene where all the brides are chasing him. Bro, when you see that, you can't even imagine that you're really watching that. Like, they literally, there's no CGI. This is 1999. I think it's San Francisco. Yeah, it is San Francisco, because some of the scenes from The Rock were in this movie. The movie The Rock. Not out. They don't go to Alcatraz, but scenes around the city. There's a scene where like hundreds and hundreds of brides are running after him. And you're just like, this is the craziest shit I've ever seen. It's so funny. It's so goofy and corny that it's funny. But if you haven't checked out The Bachelor, check it out. Because when it comes to Chris O'Donnell, this is not one people think of. You think of like Robin Hood, Son of a Woman, Musketeers, last but not least. Because I could, this list, I can make 2 parts of this list. I kind of just shorten it. The Bone Collector. This is a very underrated Denzel Washington movie. Maybe because he's not like blowing, he's basically a paraplegic detective. He's in a bed the whole time, and he needs Angelina Jolie to kind of work with him to solve this serial killer case. And it's really good. It's not Seven good, but it's in that kind of same serial killer detective kind of thing from the 90s. It's good. This is Universal, so maybe we'll get, this is on Blu-ray. I just don't have it. I don't know how Universal really is with their 4Ks, so I don't really know if this is like coming or I have something to look forward to, but definitely will be upgrading the Blu-ray to this. But Bone Collector. Oh, Al Bundy's in this movie. Ed O'Neill is also in this movie. Small role, but he's good. So that's my list of forgotten movies from 1999. Please leave in the comments below ones that you like that you feel nobody talks about. This list, most of the ones are probably on my second list, because I might do a part 2 to this. Because there are so many that I was just like, I can't make a 2-hour video with this. But yeah, what do you guys think? I am jetting off to Europe right now. This week may be kind of slow. I'm going to try to film some content in where I'm going. I'm going to try to film some stuff while I'm in Portugal. There is 2 CEX stores within like 15 minutes from my hotel in either direction. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go there and maybe make a little shopping in Europe video, depending on my free time, because I'm going for work, not just for vacation. So if this week's kind of slow, forgive me. I promise as soon as I get back, more content will be coming.